Welcome back, everyone, to Between Bells, where we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes, we are. Hispanic voters are, of course, one of the largest and most influential groups in the country when it comes to electoral politics, and they're taking center stage heading into 2020. Our Alyssa Julia Smith is standing by in LA with a whole lot more. Hey there, Alyssa.
Thanks so much, guys. Well, my next guest is the second vice chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and was the only Latina Democrat elected to the House in 2016. She's leading the charge in Washington and celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here in LA. Congresswoman Nanette Diaz-Barragán represents California's 44th district, and she joins me now. Thank you so much, Representative, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Hispanic Heritage Month, we're in it right now. So how are you and your constituents celebrating?
Well, it's a great time to look back at our history, to look back at our culture, and to celebrate it. Certainly, we do events throughout the district. Opportunity to highlight those who have paved the way for us, and to honor them, but also to look inside to ourselves and saying, what legacy do we want to leave behind in today's day and age when our kids look back and say, what were you doing when? And we're at a critical time right now in this country where Latinos and Latinas are under attack. And so we want to make sure that our history of us here now are also doing the right thing and paving the way for those who come behind us.
Right, and on that note, what does the legacy of Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you?
Well, it's really personal. You know, my parents were immigrants. They came from Mexico. My mom only finished the 3rd grade. And when I think about her crossing the border into the U.S., you know, I don't think she ever could have imagined her child would one day become a member of Congress. And that, for me, is, I'm so proud, and it's so great to see that she can live to see it. But we have to pass that on to our future generations. And so when I see young girls, I often get down on a knee and I'll say, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right.
And they'll say, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor. And the first thing I say is, that's great, my sister is a nurse, my sister is a teacher, but how about being President of the United States?
Right.
And putting that in their mind early on, because they are our future.
Right.
And they are our heritage. And so we continue to push and encourage our youth.
I love that. And who are some of the heroes you think of and pay tribute to during this month?
Well, I think about people like Sonia Sotomayor, Supreme Court Justice, who the first Latina ever to serve on the court, who's been such a critical voice on Latino issues, immigration. And I think about people like her who've really made a big difference.
Right. Now I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about another thing you're advocating for. You're the co-sponsor of the National Museum of the American Latino Act right now. So what's the process on creating a museum? I mean, why is it taking so long for this to happen?
Well, it's long overdue. We have now an African American museum in Washington that is beautiful and has great history and culture and a story there. And it's time for us, our Latino heritage, to be there as well, to show those like Cesar Chavez, those who really have paved the way. And so we are pushing this bill to try to get this museum on the mall. And we have support, but we have to continue so that we can get it all the way through and get funded and get it built.
And the significance of having it on the mall in DC, right, is huge.
Absolutely. We are a nation of immigrants. We are a nation where we accept other people and their cultures, and they add value to the United States. And to have it on the mall, to have it there along with other museums, I think is critically important and is missing from Washington right now.
Now, while I have you here, I have to ask you about the 2020 election. What are the issues that are most important to Hispanic voters going into the 2020 election?
Well, there's a lot of issues that Latinos and Hispanics care about. A lot of people often immediately think about immigration, especially in today's day and age, with what is happening on the southern border, with asylum seekers being turned away. But let's not forget that access to health care, clean air, environmental justice issues are Latino issues. They're issues that impact our communities, and oftentimes they disproportionately impact them. I live in a district that's one of the most heavily polluted in the country. And who do you have on the front lines? It's communities of color. My district is 70% Latino, and they have oil drilling right in their backyards.
Right.
It's an injustice that's happening and impacting communities of color, and so we need to make sure we're standing up against these injustices.
Now, Representative, before I let you go, you were the only Latina elected to the House in 2016. Now, in 2018, 6 Latinas were elected. So are you confident this trend is going to continue in 2020 and beyond?
I hope so, because it was a lonely time to have 1 Latino in 2016, and 2018 we saw 6. That is a historic, huge jump, and it's time. It's time that we add more Latinas and Latinos at the table to look like this country, to be a voice on the issues that matter to our communities, and in today's day and age, to be a voice against a lot of the rhetoric, against immigrants, against people who look differently. And so I take that responsibility with a great amount of pride, and I take it very seriously.
Well, Representative, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone. Big thanks to Congresswoman Nanette Diaz-Barragán. Back to you guys in New York.
All right, thanks, of course, to our Alyssa Julia Smith in Los Angeles. And that's going to do it for us today, guys. Join us tomorrow, more Between Bells. We're launching our weekly show only in LA. Guess what? It originates from Los Angeles. You're going to love it.
Amazing.